It's okay, we've got your bottle. Don't usually come that eagerly. Yeah, yeah man. Hank, how you doing? Hey, can I pat you? Hello? Hello? Hey Hank. There's someone shooting in the forest. Probably hunting deer. La la la! La la la! I found a little butternut pumpkin growing. It's really exciting. They're my favourite pumpkins. And my first Dutch crookneck is about to open up tomorrow, which I'm super excited about. These are my small sugars, and I've got quite a few. I chose this variety because they're nice and sweet, and because they're very small, so I can just cut one open and I don't have to worry about what I'll do with the other half. And my only spaghetti squash so far. It's quite big. Hopefully we'll get some more. These are the volunteer pumpkins. I believe they're pumpkins anyway. They don't look like watermelons, and we haven't really had any rock melons, so I'd say they're a pumpkin of some sort, probably a butternut. But I'm going to let them grow and see what happens. Hopefully it's not too late in the season. I think I'm going to have to pick some cucumbers tomorrow. Quite a few in there. More back there. One hanging here. Yum. I made sushi with these the other day and they were delicious. I'm happy to say the parrots haven't found our peas. A nice little haul of peas. We've had one of those crazy mornings this morning. We had a planned power outage scheduled for today, so we knew about it. All our town was cut off from the grid because they were upgrading the system, which is cool, it's awesome. But even though we've got solar panels, we didn't have any power because the solar panels feed back into the grid and then we buy back from the grid. So anyway, that turned off around 8:30 this morning as planned, but when I went in to check on my Keat this morning at around 8 o'clock, I found him dead. My poor Keat. He was the only one that hatched out of the first batch of eggs on our project to save the Guinea Fowls. And then I hadn't really given much consideration to the rest of the Guinea Fowl eggs that were in the incubator. So when the power went out, we quickly fired up the generator and we left that going. We popped out around lunchtime to run some errands. Paul had to pick up a part for his paddock bomb. That is a 4-wheel drive, but it was only currently running on a 2-wheel drive because something was broken, so he's picking up the broken part. So while we're out, the generator either ran out of fuel or died. We're not 100% sure. Paul said it was running funny just before we left, so we think that there was a fault with the generator because he had filled it up with fuel beforehand. and I walked in there to see if it had turned on because I noticed the power's on by the time we got back, and the switch had blown. We're lucky that we didn't cause a fire. When we came back, I noticed the switch had blown, all melted out. I don't know if you can see that, the black dark spot. We're lucky we didn't cause a fire because no one was home, and that could have easily been disastrous for our family. Luckily the incubator still works though. We switched it onto mains power and it's working, so it's running, which is good. Hopefully it wasn't off for too long and we didn't lose the viability of those eggs, because they are due to go into lockdown in 2 or 3 days. It's just been one of those mornings. We had 2 batches of eggs that we saved from the guinea fowl's nest before she mysteriously disappeared, I think from a fox during the day. And we tried to hatch them out, and we had 3 eggs out of about 9 that were fertile, and only 1 of those hatched. And in here we've got another 9 eggs, and these 7 look fertile, so hopefully we get a few hatch out of there. But while we were out, we bought some watering fittings, because watering the veggie patch down the bottom takes about an hour. So we're going to set up an easy watering system where we can put it on a timer and it will turn off by itself, and then we just need to remember to turn the tap off so this doesn't blow off the tap. But this is running off dam water, so it's not a big deal if we lose a tank full of water because we can just refill it. But we prefer if it didn't blow off. But yeah, we've got everything we need to create a sprinkler system for the veggie patch down the bottom. So we'll be able to water this automatically instead of watering it by hand, which would be a big time saver.
Facebook, $350, turbo diesel, but got it home and realised it was only 2-wheel drive because one of the CVs was broken, and knew it had a leaky water, radiator. So hopefully soldered that up and fixed it. This should fix the CV, and for $5.50 should be a good little paddock bomb to do all the fencing, and if it gets stuck down the bottom of the paddock it doesn't matter. Yeah, be a little bit of maintenance on it, but not bad for the price. Bought new CV, luckily got it delivered to the town close by, and got it home, and of course it was the wrong part. So I spent hours trying to modify it and change it around, fit a bit of the old with a bit of the new, take half the diff out, all the axles out, just to try and get it running. It looks like I finally got it in, but it wasn't a fun job, let's just say that.